All right, so today we're going over the air squat. It's a body weight squat. It looks like this. For the setup, we want our feet to be just outside our hips, maybe like about shoulder width apart. Your toes are going to turn out a few degrees, so they're not perfectly straight, we're turning out. And as you descend, you want your knees to follow the line of your toes. So we're not letting knees collapse inwards, we're following the angle that we've created. And as we descend, we're keeping weight equal throughout our feet. So we're not all the way on our heels, we definitely don't want to come up on the toes as we go down. So think about equal weight in your feet, getting those knees out, chest stays up, and then stand up out of your squat. And that's it. All right, I'm going over the goblet squat. With the goblet squat, you hold onto a weight while squatting. Maybe you have a dumbbell at home, maybe you have a kettlebell. You could have a backpack that you just stuff full of whatever to make it a little bit heavier. Maybe you have like gallons of milk or water. Just something that you can hold onto. So if you're using a dumbbell, you wanna hold just the one head of it, or you could hold it sideways if this feels better on your shoulders or grip or whatever. But once you have it here, you're going into a squat just like your regular body weight squat. So feet set up just outside your hips, about shoulder width, toes pointed out. And as you descend, we're making sure to roll the shoulders down and back to keep that weight nice and close to your chest as you go down, and then stand up. So there it is with the dumbbell. If you're doing it with a kettlebell, some people like to hold the handles like this. That's totally fine. I find it's most comfortable to actually flip the kettlebell upside down. So you're holding the round part. And same thing, keeping it nice and close as you descend and stand back up. All right, so here is the Bulgarian split squat. Here's what it looks like. So I'm setting up with a box that's about my knee height. You can always do it like the top of a chair maybe, or like a low stool, or even a couch works great. Then you set up by taking a few steps in front of your box. You want the back foot to just be resting on it. You're really not putting much weight at all into that back foot. So it's just resting back there. I'm not in a narrow stance. I'm actually like keeping, like my feet are almost like on railroad tracks as I'm setting up back here. That way I have better balance as I go down into it. I'm focusing the majority of the power and my balance all on this front foot. So coming all the way down, back knee might touch, might not touch, but come down till either 90 degree in the hip or a little bit deeper, and then drive off that front foot to step back up. Try to keep your weight even throughout your foot that's planted on the ground, and come on up. And then you can always switch to the other side. Step out if you feel a little crunched, and same thing on the other side. All right, so here's a lunge. It's just a regular body weight lunge. Here's what it looks like. So I'm setting up with my feet about hip width apart. As I step forward, I'm not only just stepping forward, I'm stepping out a little bit so that you have a nice wide stance. Back knee comes down, touches the ground, and stand back up to go and lunge on the other side. So with this front leg, we want to keep our knee pretty much over the ankle. It's okay if it goes forward a little bit, but as you stand back up out of it, you want to drive off the heel, pushing back so that you can switch feet to the other side. We want to be mindful of our knee, not only how it is located forward and backwards, but also side to side. So we want to avoid the collapsing knee in and an overtly open knee. So try to keep it in line with whatever direction your toe is facing during the lunge. All right, here we have the burpee, everyone's favorite exercise. Looks like this. Do a couple here. Here you go. So it's all about getting to the ground and then getting back up. Want to plant our hands about shoulder width apart. From here, you kick out into a plank position. Bring your chest down to the ground. Pop back up like a push-up. Hands come to your feet. And then you're jumping up overhead to a full extension of your whole body. So when you come out of the burpee, some people will do this little rocky motion where you're pulling up your chest first, then popping up the hips, and jumping up to the top. That's fine. Try to stay as one piece, but if your chest comes up a little bit before the rest of your body, that's okay too. All right, so here we have the push-up. This is what it looks like. A full plank position push-up. Points that we want to look out for is how we're aligning our hands. So my hands are aligned so that my fingers are pointing forward. I'm digging into all the fingers and not just like the palms, focusing a lot on your thumb and your pointer finger during the push-up. I'm aligning my hands more underneath, like in line with my lower ribs and not directly under my shoulders or my armpits. From here, in your plank position, we want to spread the shoulder blades apart, rolling the shoulders down and away from your neck. And I'm tucking my hips under. I can feel my abs contracting. And as you initiate downwards, we want to start with the shoulders, come all the way down to either 90 degrees or maybe your chest touches the floor all the way. But keeping that core tension, we press back up. We also want to make sure that our elbows are staying next to us during the push-up and they're not flaring out this way. So think about trying to squeeze something in your armpits as you lower. Other options for the push-up is you could do a hand elevated push-up. So you're getting a surface. I wouldn't go any more than like a 45-degree angle. We're still holding that plank position, so abs are on, hips are tucked under, shoulder blades spreading apart at the top, and then still come down, elbows tucked in, shoulder blades pinched together, and press back up. I would stick to hand elevated push-ups before you go into a knee push-up. But knee push-ups are good too. You just don't work as much on that core tension, which helps you come up during the push-up. But you've got 3 push-up options. All right, so mountain climbers. We're getting into that plank position and they look like this. Getting that right knee to touch your right elbow, sending it back, left knee to touch your left elbow. In our plank position, we want to make sure that our shoulder blades are spreading apart. We're active through our upper back. We're tucking the hips under so you can feel abs turning on. And then you can either do these slow as you touch your knee to your elbow, or you can start going a little bit faster. Whichever way you do it, we want to avoid our butts going too high in the air as we do this like bouncy thing. So try to keep your hips in line with your shoulders as you move through your mountain climbers. All right, so then we have cross mountain climbers. These are like mountain climbers' evil twin. So we're setting up in that plank position. They look like this. So same thing, shoulder blades spreading far apart, active through your plank position, tucking the hips under. And this time, instead of right knee to right elbow, we're going right knee to left elbow, and then back to that plank, left knee, left elbow, back to that plank. So you can do these fast, or you can do them slow and controlled. Same thing where we want to keep our hips in line with our shoulders and not getting them up too high as you go through these. It's a wonderful oblique burn. All right, so here we have the jump squat. Looks like this. We're setting up just like we would with a regular squat. Our feet are about shoulder width apart, toes turned out. As we're squatting down, knees follow the angle of your toes. And then as we come up, we're exploding up and pushing all the way off our toes in order to get into that jump. So with these, we want to be careful as we descend that we're not staying on our toes since we just, jumped up on our toes. So as we come down, heels go back down to the ground, full foot planted into your next squat so you can jump and get down to the next one. All right, here we have the jumping lunge. Looks like this. We're setting up just like a regular lunge where we don't want to lunge too narrow. So as we step forward, we're also stepping out so that our stance is nice and wide. Coming all the way down so that back knee is just grazing the ground, not slamming into the ground. And as you come up, you're coming up with speed and power so that you can switch to jumping into the other side. So as you plant your feet down, we want to make sure, again, that we're keeping our knee stacked over our ankle and we're not collapsing in as we're jumping. So keep knee either straight forward or a little bit out. You don't want to be like crazy out. And then keep moving through. This is a box step up. Here's what it looks like. Looks simple enough, right? So we're stepping up onto any elevated surface. A good range would be knee height, but of course you can go lower, you can go higher, whatever you feel like doing. So as we're stepping up, I'm starting with my left foot. Doesn't matter really what foot you start with, but we're driving off that left foot to bring us to the top. I like to step down with my left foot then, and then right foot follows. That way I know to alternate, and then right foot is going up first as you go through the step up. So right foot goes back down, and you just keep alternating through. Here's a box jump. Looks like this. So we're setting up with our feet just underneath our hips, ready to jump. We're gonna use our hands as momentum as we jump up onto the box. We're dipping, we're loading up our legs to drive them into the ground. You'll come up onto your toes as you jump. Look at where you wanna land. Stand up to full extension so hips are open before you either jump or you step back down. Depending on your space or you're comfortable, whatever you're comfortable with, it might be easier to step down or jump down before you go into your next jump. Here's the sit-up. Looks like this. So when you sit up, for your sit-up, knees are bent, feet are planted on the ground. As we're going up, we're thinking about contracting our ab muscles, and we don't want to just sit through. That can lead to things that don't feel so great on your back. So as you're sitting up, think about sitting up and then over. So literally up that way and then all the way through. If you can and you have the full range of motion, I like to tap my feet because that means I'm sitting until my shoulders pass my hips. Using my arms to set all the way up, or you can go for minimal arm movement if you want a little bit more of a challenge. If you don't want to use your hip flexors so much, so the top of your hips here, you can always put your feet together, have knees go wide, and as you sit up, you're actually sitting up through your knees. Touch your toes before you go back down into your next one. Here are dips. Here's what they look like. So when you're setting up for these, you can do it on a chair or a firm surface or a stool or something that's not going to fall over on you. Couch is probably a little too squishy for this one, so something sturdy. As you're setting up, fingers face forward, palms are on your sturdy object, and we're coming down with our, scooting your butt just off so that your butt stays close to the stool or whatever you're dipping on, coming all the way down to about 90-degree angle in your elbows, and then coming back up. You can make it more challenging the further away your feet are, so you're getting less assistance from your legs, or you can bring them in to get a little bit more assistance from your legs as you dip. Here's a wall walk. I'm going to show you guys what it looks like first. All right, so first you want a sturdy wall or a sturdy door, something that might get scuffed up, or you can wear socks, but that makes it a little bit slippery. But you're setting up in a plank with your feet towards the wall, super active shoulders here, so we're pushing the ground away, spreading shoulder blades apart, tucking the hips under, abs are turned on, and then we're walking our feet up the wall. As you're walking your hands closer to the wall, and walk as close as you're comfortable with, because we are getting inverted here, so it depends how comfortable you are. If you make it all the way to the wall or close to it, that's cool. Maybe you only go a couple of steps. But as you walk back down, controlled steps with your arms and controlling your feet all the way back down to the ground.